Welcome, one and all, to another premium spirits review. I am the devilishly handsome outlaw himself, your king of extreme Phil K.O.E. This here is the K.O.E. Nation, and I am joined by my indomitable broadcast partners in inebriation, the one, the only,
Blade,
and the one, the only,
Tony fucking G. Like, share, subscribe.
We are here to review Balcones Texas Boch straight malt whiskey, 50% alcohol by volume from, screw you, it's from Texas. So, Blade, what can you tell us about this whiskey while we prepare a dram for us?
So Balcones here is a whiskey company that has been recently built in the mid-2000s outside of Waco, Texas, which is the same place where you get your Dr. Pepper and all sorts of other good stuff that comes from Texas.
Yeah.
So Balcones itself does a lot of things with Shiner. Shiner has done quite a few limited releases of beers that go with Balcones casks. In May, Balcones came out with a Balcones Texas Boch, which mixes with the most famous beer from Texas, which is Shiner. And they did a limited release in Texas, certain counties, in southern Oklahoma of Balcones Texas Boch. And we were just able to be graced with it.
I love Shiner, specifically when I'm in. I can pick it up. I can pick it up here in Nebraska, but it's not the same as having it on draft in Texas. Love me some Shiner draft. This smells very interesting.
Okay, this is going to be a very specific smell, but okay, have either of you ever seen the movie Ratatouille?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, the scene where the really angry food critic takes a bite of food and he's like transported back to a scene in his childhood?
Yep.
He takes a bite of Ratatouille.
When I smell this, now, like, my mom's going to be like, why are you talking about this? But this smells exactly like my grandma's cinnamon sugar that she would use to put on the toast before we would have breakfast. She would she'd put toast, she'd spread the butter so the butter would melt into it, and then she had this specific mix of cinnamon and white sugar that she made her own mix of, and that's what I'm getting here is that specific smell from my childhood. So I got a feeling, considering it's triggering that kind of memory, I'm probably going to like this stuff. So
I'm getting what you're smelling, but I'm also getting, God, I almost want to say like a licorice.
So the one thing I would like to add about it, TG, about you saying that you love Texas Shiner Boch on draft, every drop of Shiner Boch is made in Shiner, Texas. So there is no other distillery. So when you have it up here, it's transported from Shiner, Texas.
Yes.
Which is 4 hours south of where I personally live at the moment in Texas.
okay.
That's got a lingering, delayed aftertaste. And I'm having
Very powerful cinnamon. Like
it's very, not just cinnamon, but I'm also like a fruit cake type Christmassy dessert.
Yeah,
Maple is what I always got, is maple.
Okay. I was saying, like you said, cinnamon, sugar, and spice, but there's something else there, and it's a thicker sweetness.
Yeah.
Maple would be it, yes.
And yes, I do. I apologize, Mom. No, this does not taste like Grandma's cinnamon sugar. No, there's some other stuff in there. I'm afraid.
A few other things.
Yeah, a few other things.
Yeah.
But the nose is still there even after I've tasted it. So
it's a thicker sweetness on the nose, and you're right. I can definitely taste maple.
Almost like, God, I wish I could say it's like there is like a, not black or even red, but just like a base licorice.
Like a base.
Yeah. Like, and I don't know else.
Not the sweetness of the red, not the Jaeger taste of the black, but a
just
licorice.
That base licorice. Yeah. If you were to just like almost chew on the root. But in a good way. And there's that cinnamon that's on the front and on the back and in the middle, but in a very good way. And wasn't this aged in a beer cask, you were telling me?
So they haven't released what they did with it, but they have used certain things with Shiner Boch themselves that we don't know about. But what I do know is that Balcones and Shiner have worked together for quite a few years to release nice things that only Shiner has done in beer. This is the first time Balcones itself has used Shiner on their end. This was limited released on May 13th. Fortunately, I have a good friend in the whiskey industry. They was able to give me that bottle on May 10th before it hit the shelves.
All right. Take a taste here and have this thought in your mouth. Nicaraguan cigar.
I definitely get a tobacco.
Got one?
I think I might, but
I get what you're saying with the tobacco.
like it has this very fine, high-end tobacco, not like the smoky flavor, but like if you just have the end of a nice cigar,
Like
in
it
your mouth.
did it's getting into your mouth.
Yes,
Just the
yes.
taste of
Like
it.
yeah, it's like there's a. This is well done. This is amazingly well done. So I think we're gonna grade this on 3 scales. Be fair. Be a little easy on it.
Okay.
And also the secret 4th question.
Okay.
So as a whiskey, as a cask aged spirit, which is we'll get into that in a second, and Sheldon. So as a whiskey, against the whole wide world of whiskey, all the scotches, bourbons, Japanese whiskeys, what have you, Canadian whiskeys.
Go ahead.
I'm only gonna have to go with 3.5.
3.5, 3.5.
What was the ABV on this? 50%.
50.
It's tough because it's a very specific flavor. I would obviously, I like my whiskey neat or on the rocks or with a drip of water. And I think if I was going to pick any out of those, I would probably try this on the rocks next specifically. I'm going to say 3.75.
My favorite thing about the bottle, though, was that it was $27. It's a well priced whiskey for how it tastes. That is my favorite thing.
That's a hell
about
of a value. Yeah. Oh wow. Because
it. Oh, I
over
should have
there-
led with that. I apologize.
No, that's fine. Because over there somewhere, I got a bottle of Howard Hooch, which is corn whiskey made right here in Nebraska.
Yeah.
Clear whiskey, unaged, $16. So
I feel like that's a good time.
That's a hell of a value there. Then I mean, it really is. As a whiskey, I'm going to be a little more generous and give it 3.75.
Yep.
I like it. This is unique, interesting, and let's be honest. If it's going to have that much of a personal memory attachment for me, I'm going to give it a little more. As a cask-aged spirit, now this is putting it up against all the rums, all of the reposado tequilas, all of the whiskeys, bourbons, anything aged in a cask of any scotch, whatever. Anything that's in that. And also, if you would mix it, would you cocktail it?
So I feel almost unfair answering that question because this is the first time they've released it. They've never tried it anyway. We don't know if they cast it for 1 year, 6 months, however. But as its release,
It says young, but it's not 1 year old. It's probably 3 years.
I would give it a 3.25 as its release on it because it would be way if it's aged, it would be gloriously better. 100%.
It's very specific in its flavor, but it's a unique way about doing it, and I like that, and the effort's definitely there. I think with a little bit more maturation, you'd really be looking at something very special, but this is definitely the beginning of something. They're onto something good here. And
they have a lot of great whiskeys. They truly do. And like I said, this is a special release that obviously all Texans want it because it's a Texas whiskey and it's a Texas company.
And I think that's
and
why
Shiner is the heart, other than Lone Star beer. But
So what
Shiner's where it's
you're
at.
saying, Tony, is this cask and this whiskey are at the beginning of a beautiful
I
relationship.
think that's why you're seeing it being a limited release, because this is the beginning of something grander. I think they're on their way to having a more permanent age statement special whiskey.
color. Even if they're adding color, that's impressive.
Yeah, I like the color. I like the taste. It's very specific though, and I'm gonna give it a 3 on this because I think this is on the beginning. I think it could develop into something much.
I truly hope it
more
does.
better. Yeah,
This is the beginner.
much more better. But yeah, definitely.
I'm gonna give
definitely
this
interesting.
3.25 as a cask age.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you said, this is the beginning. They got only up to go from here, but this is amazing stuff.
I like it.
So shelving.
I would say this is. I would go middle shelf for this, but mostly because I reserve the top shelf for very specific, elusive things that go off the charts on my rating scale. But this is one of those things that, like I said, like it's early development. In a few years, this could definitely be one of those things you're like, okay, that's clearly a top shelf item. But no, I definitely put it on my middle. It's nowhere near the bottom, that's for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm going to also have to agree, go in the middle, but with this one, I want it in the back. It's going to be one that I reserved for the few friends that, hey, you're around, it's limited release, I'm going to allow you to drink this with me. It's in the middle because because of how it is, but it can be better here soon.
If you could acquire a bottle of this and get your own cask, I think that would be something you should experiment with.
That would be nice, except for the fact that I've searched every liquor store in Texas for 800 miles, and that is the last bottle that I know of to be sold.
And for our fans from across the pond, you can travel 800 miles and still not even leave Texas.
You still got 200 miles on the other end.
Yeah, you still got a half day's drive to go anyway. So here's the other question. If you could find a bottle of this for the same price that he paid, would you add this to your collection?
I would definitely consider it, but I've seen everything on their line now. When he originally brought this up to me, I looked at their full line, and they have some other interesting options that I would also be really hard not to consider, because I like to try different things, and this is definitely a brand that I would want to try more of. So I might look at something else in the line before I picked up another bottle of it. But yeah, it would definitely be in consideration.
Just the fact that I know that it was a limited release in just certain areas of Texas and southern Oklahoma, I'm going to buy as much as I can.
That's
for
fair.
the fact that we talked about. Let it age some more.
Yep.
And then, as we try the rest of them, we will try a bottle that we may have bought 5 years ago.
There you go.
Yeah. Me, if I were to buy a bottle, first of all, tremendous value. $26 for this bottle, tremendous value. Probably one of the better values for your buck. I would put this in blind flights of bourbons and weeded bourbons just to see, and you'd be amazed how high this would score against $100 bourbons, $120 weeded bourbons. And you'd be shocked at, like, wow, this stuff's really good. And yeah, that's what I would use this for. It's just like, yeah, this stuff's from Texas. It's $26.
Texas.
There you go. He's right on with that.
So screw you. It's from Texas, and it's actually some pretty good stuff, and I would recommend it. So, anything you'd like to say to the people?
Try and find it. My name's Blade.
Tony G?
I'm good.
Folks, I think you know what comes here. All that being said, this has been our review of Balcones Texas Boch, an amazing limited release. Grab them while you can, folks. They're going fast before they're going. Gone! It's out of here. So, I am the devilishly handsome outlaw himself, your king of extreme, Phil K.O.E., signing off and handing it off to my indomitable broadcast partners. The one, the only, the returning, the ascendant,
Blade.
and my indomitable broadcast partner throughout all the years of craziness and wackiness. The one, the only,
Tony G.
Thanks for joining us, folks.